Please rise for our national anthem.
The burgundy on my t-shirt when you splashed your wine into me, and how the blood rushed into my cheeks so scarlet. It was Maroon. I saw my collar.
Today we are deep diving into the lyrics of Maroon. The song starts off by really setting the scene. Taylor is with her love interest, and they're having such a good time together that they accidentally stay up all night. This is beautifully described as them losing track of time and laughing and cuddling like best friends. When the morning came, we were cleaning incense off your vinyl shelf because we lost track of time again. Laughing with my feet in your lap like you were my closest friend. The next section I find really interesting because I've read different theories on it, so let me break it down. Morning arrives and the love interest asks, how did we end up on the floor anyway? To which she responds, your roommate's cheap ass screw top rose. But then she also says, I see you every day now. So what's interesting here is that there is a possibility that she is talking about herself being the roommate. She's not throwing shade at someone for drinking cheap rose. I think that's actually her bottle of wine that she brought. She has been spending a lot of time with this person, clearly crashing at their place as well, maybe even accidentally. And that's why she says, I see you every day now. She's basically the roommate because they're non-stop together. Then we get into the chorus. And I chose you, the one I was dancing with in New York, no shoes. In this section, there are so many potential references to different Taylor Swift songs. For example, in Holy Ground, she talks about both dancing and New York. Or in Cornelia Street, where she talks about being barefoot in the kitchen. In Out of the Woods, she talks about moving the furniture so they can dance. The list goes on. I also want to emphasize the choice of words, I chose you, because it almost implies that there might have been someone else in the picture. In the next section of the chorus, she starts to dissect the relationship, taking a closer look at the different elements of it. For me, this is a continuation of her song Red, with Maroon being a darker, browner shade of red. She's reflecting back on this relationship that she used to see as burning red, really heated with passion, but now in hindsight, she realizes it wasn't really red, but rather maroon. Much deeper in shade and not as vibrant as she thought while she was experiencing it. So she starts, I looked up at the sky and it was, obviously implying the same shade as the burgundy on my t-shirt when you splashed your wine into me, and how the blood rushed into my cheeks, so scarlet. Burgundy, of course, being a shade similar to maroon, so kind of like red, but much darker. For me, this whole segment almost sounds like she's describing a meet cute. A meet cute essentially is, like in TV or films, the charming first encounter between two characters. So this almost feels like a scene in a movie where two people bump into each other, he spills her wine on her, she's so embarrassed by it, her cheeks turn red. And the way the music builds it up, you can almost kind of like feel their eye contact and that it was like really the start of something. And so in that moment, that encounter probably felt really exciting and vibrant, but now she looks back on it and she realizes that it was so scarlet that it was maroon. The mark they saw on my collarbone could be a reference to the progression of the relationship because it could be symbolizing a hickey and just showing the intensity and passion that there was there. But then we arrive at the rust that grew between telephones. This sentence is implying that they lost touch. The telephones were not used, so they became rusty. And finally, the lips I used to call home, so scarlet it was maroon. For me, this phrase is actually just making a reference to her red lip classic, but she could also be talking about her love interest's lips. Essentially, this chorus is saying that she was so confused in the passion of this relationship. She was completely blinded by love and deceived of what the true nature of that relationship was. And I love the way that the chorus has a progression of its own, starting kind of with the meet cute and like things going well, diving into passion, and then going into the distance. And the story continues. We arrive at the second verse, where she draws parallels from the first verse. In the first verse, she talks about when the morning came, so it's a very like happy scene of two people losing track of time and end up chatting all night. It has a much brighter, positive image. And now she talks about the silence coming, so problems in the relationship and things just falling apart. When the silence came, we were shaking, blind and hazy. How the hell did we lose sight of us again? Sobbing with your head in your hands, ain't that the way she always ends? So the evening comes to an end with the love interest crying, and she's realizing that all these fights always end up in a similar situation with somebody sobbing their eyes out. And then she addresses that it wasn't just her misinterpreting the relationship, but he did too. You were standing hollow-eyed in the hallway, carnations you had thought were roses. That's us. Carnations are an inferior flower to roses, according to Genius, so like I don't know if that's true. But essentially it means that he viewed the relationship in a different light than what it really was, which again is the whole theme of the song. I feel you no matter what, the rubies that I gave up. Rubies are red and of course very, very expensive, sometimes more expensive than diamonds, again according to Genius. And I think her saying the rubies that I gave up is actually a metaphor for her saying how she gave up on this relationship, but she can feel it. She remembers the good times. Then we go into the chorus once again, where she has replaced "and I chose you" with "I lost you," showing the progression in the story that the relationship has come to an end. And next we have the bridge, which lyrically is really short, but the intensity of the words really are burnt into the song. "And I wake with your memory over me, that's a real legacy to leave." She's essentially saying that this relationship has affected her so much to the point where she still lies awake with memories of it. Of course, that's like the entire concept of the Midnights album. She can't fall asleep because of it, and she's saying that's a real legacy to leave because of the way that the relationship not only has shaped her, but it continues to have an impact on her. I think this is a really beautifully put together evolution of Red. I really love the parallels and just the concept of reflecting back on a relationship years later, because it's possible that sometimes you don't see things for what they are until years later. Of course, the chorus repeats in what is one of my favorite parts of the Midnights album, the closing of this song, and we reach the end of the song. If I missed any theories about the lyrics, make sure to let me know below. And if you're wondering about speculations, you can check out this video that I made where I talk about who every song on Midnights is speculated to be about. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you'd like to hang out again, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you in my next video. That's all for now. Bye!